Far, far away, there is a tiny kingdom called Norway. The kingdom's inhabitants, the Norwegians, are a peculiar people. They talk funny, they dress funny, and they behave funny. They simply do everything their own way. So, what happens when these so-called Norwegians decide to break out of their comfort zone and explore the opposite side of the world?
People fascinate me. I can sit at a cafe for hours just watching strangers walk by. Not to mention inside the grocery store. It's amazing how much information you can get out of a person just by looking into his or her shopping trolley. Thus, in Norway, every time I had to go and buy unattractive groceries, I always ran to the register in order to pay. Because you see, in Norway, after you paid for your groceries, they put your groceries in a nice opaque carry bag so that all your groceries are safely hidden in the bag when leaving the store. I thought it was the same way in Australia, but I was so wrong. I will never forget my first trip to the grocery store. I just moved here and it was my turn to go and buy toilet paper. So I went into the store, grabbed the toilet paper and rushed to the register so that I could pay and hide the toilet paper in the carry bag. At the register, do you know what happens? The lady gives me a see-through carry bag. I was terrified. I spent hours getting home simply because I didn't dare walking around in the street with toilet paper in my hands. What would people think if they saw me carry it? You don't get nice associations with toilet paper. So, for those of you Norwegians that don't want to be read like an open book every time you go grocery shopping, do as me. Go shopping in the dead of the night, because as you know, all cats are grey in the dark.
My major cultural problem, I would call it more of an obstacle, when I moved to Australia was the Australian politeness. Well, maybe it wasn't the Australian politeness, it was more my total lack of good manners. You see, in Norway, people are quite rude. Actually, they're very rude. At some times they can be quite disgusting. If you walk down the street in Norway and bump into somebody, they would go like ouch or fuck, scream that out really loud, or they might send you like a gaze that kills. Because of this Norwegian rudeness, I spent quite some time adjusting to the polite and good-mannered Australian culture. And quite frankly, I've become very polite now, and you could say that being polite has become one of my characteristics. For example, if you bump into somebody, you would say, "Pardon me, madame," or "Pardon me, sir." And if you want somebody to send you something, you say, "Can you send me that, please?" Or you would, if you want to go past someone, you would say, "Excuse me, sir," or "Excuse me, madame," or something like that. So to all of you Norwegians coming to Australia, pack your bags with smiles and good manners, and you will get so much more in return than if you are being rude.
Glimrende, jeg tror vi har det nå.
Det var bare hyggelig, det gikk jo kjempebra.
Tusen takk for hjelpa.
Det er ikke noe problem, jeg stiller gjerne opp igjen, altså. Det var en stor fornøyelse. Nei, faen, kjæring, se hvor det går da!
My cultural problem when moving to Australia, or I would rather call it like a climatic problem, was that I had a tendency to wear the wrong type of clothing on hot days. You see, here in Sydney, it's not only hot, it's very humid as well. And because of the high humidity, some days might feel like it's 110 degrees when it really is only like 25. You see, where I'm from in Norway, it's really never too hot or too humid. So it's kind of impossible to wear too much clothing or the wrong material. Det begynner å bli jævlig varmt her altså, du. Bare slå av. Here in Australia, you have to be very careful. Having the wrong garments, in the wrong material, on the wrong day, might be fatally embarrassing. Let me explain. Once, when I was lying on the beach, this gorgeous guy comes up and talked to me. We hit it off pretty well and decided to meet for coffee the next day at 2 p.m. The next day was a warm and sunny day. A perfect day for the perfect date. Unfortunately, it was also a perfect day for a free steam bath outside, as the air contained 98% humidity. My date was already there when I arrived. At first, when he saw me, he smiled. Then he got his weird frown on his face. Oh my God, it didn't take me long to notice what he had noticed. My sweaty armpits. How the date went? Not too good. I've become wiser now. I know what to wear and not to wear in order to prevent making a complete fool out of myself. Take today for instance, I knew it was going to be hot. That's why I'm wearing a top in a material that will not change color, even though I was going to start sweating. This way, I prevent making a complete fool out of myself by walking around with sweat rings under my arms. Du, det i orden at vi tar en pause nå? Jeg synes det så jævlig varmt. Jeg holder på å kveles. Jeg nødt til å få meg noe å drikke. Det greit?
What I experienced as the biggest problem after moving to Australia was my fear for Aussie spiders. See, back home in Norway, we don't have any spiders, just some kind of harmless dandy longlegs. In the beginning, I was totally paranoid and terrified. Every night, after I had gone to bed, I checked zillions of times under it, convinced there was a big spider convention happening. When I finally fell asleep, I had nightmares about spiders. When I got dressed, I always shook my clothes and shoes, fearing a spider would have built a nest there. No matter how hot some days were, I never opened my windows, fearing a spider might climb into my apartment. Well, that was then, this is now. I'm like a new person now. My arachnophobia is totally gone. I mean, how ridiculous. I could just step on them and they're dead. It's them that should be afraid of me, not the opposite. So, ladies, if you want a real man, a real macho, come and get me. I am single and invincible.
Shut that behind you.
Me having a culture shock came as a surprise to me. I mean, I was actually looking forward to a different culture that Sydney had to offer. In particular, the beach culture. Unfortunately, it turned out that one of the features I was looking forward to the most within Australian culture shocked and disgusted me more than any other culture that I ever experienced before. I'm now talking about the Australian beach fashion. Let me explain. Here in Sydney, going to the beach is basically the same as going to a coffee shop in Norway. You hang out with friends, have a drink, maybe a bite to eat, gossip, and of course, flirt with guys. That is, I used to flirt with guys until a couple of weeks ago when I had a traumatic incident. I could feel that somebody was staring at me. I turned around and I saw that absolutely awesome guy. He was looking at me, I was looking at him, and we had this thing going, you know what I mean? So I decided to be a little bit daring, so I waved him over. The guy gets up, that's when I notice it. Oh my God, he was wearing speedos. Yuck! Where I come from, guys are wearing shorts at the beach, not speedos. Have you ever tried to have a conversation with a guy that's wearing speedos? I know, it's impossible. Looking at the guy's candy bag is way too much information. As you guys probably understand, I quickly told the guy I was not interested because of his speedos. He replied that the only thing worse than a girl with sweaty armpits is a girl with bad attitudes. I don't know what he meant by that, sweaty armpits, just... Here's an advice for you Norwegians that come into Australia and you don't like guys in speedos. Do as me, simply keep away from the beach and the pool during the day and go out in the evening when they're properly dressed.
Nice to nibble on, but I'm sort of watching my way.
into his or her stroll shop. Fucking hell!
In polite and good-mannered culture. That's what I'm putting. Adjusting.
Was the one that shocked and disgusted me the most.
Oh, sorry.
And you get away and run after her, run after her. Nice. You want me to do it again then? Yeah, do it again.
On one side, is it?
Yeah, it is. So tell me, Jess, what have you been doing then? And you smile while you walk past.